Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sara, and today we're going over karma. What does that mean? Karma. Karma is a record that you have in your aura that you drag with you everywhere. This is why some people can feel other people's auras. The only way I can explain this for someone to visually understand what I mean is, let's say, comparing two people. Let's take two men that are completely different from each other. Let's take Kevin Costner and Charlie Sheen. Okay? We all know the Kevin Costner character. Every time he's in an interview, you can see the way he speaks. You can see what type of man Kevin Costner is simply from his aura. Because that's from karma. That's from many years of being Kevin Costner, that you can see when he's interviewing the type of aura that he has. Then you have characters like Charlie Sheen. Like, I used to watch the Three Grown Men or whatever that episode was called. And I used to enjoy that show very much because it was funny. Charlie Sheen was Three Good Men. No, anyways, I forgot. Charlie Sheen was great in that sitcom, to the point he was so good that when they replaced him, that show went down. So as you can see, he was the main character. So it's not a question of who's more important than who. We're not calculating the importance here or the popularity. We're calculating the aura. So Charlie Sheen's aura, you can see it's not a good one. And it's not because he's not from a good family. No, he is. He's, from a very popular family, a very successful family that played, a huge role in Hollywood and the actor families. So his family is a known one. He has an incredible personality, incredible charisma. He's very good looking. He's very rich. If you look at Charlie Sheen, on paper, the person is an entire package, right? But if you ever approach this person, you're going to feel his aura is disgusting. Why is this person's aura disgusting? Because we can all imagine the things that Charlie Sheen has done behind closed doors. And I'm not trying to judge. It's just the character type. Some girls are really attracted to that type of character. I'm not, but some girls are. So it's not a question of judging. It's just a question of comparing. So you have Kevin Costner's aura, and then you have Charlie Sheen's aura. But why is Charlie Sheen's aura the way he is? Because we just went over all his qualities, and he has incredible qualities. But his aura is like that because of his record. The record he's dragging everywhere with him, even on set, is visible. You can feel it. That's why it's all about momentum. Karma is an incredible law. It keeps everything in order. Or else it would just be chaotic, nothing would have any consequences. So the law of karma is incredible. Even if you don't see the karma right now, let's say you do a certain act and you don't see the karma right now, the karma will come eventually. It has to. It has to, because that's how it balances out. And I physically have seen this with my own life. I swear it balances out, but it balances out with time. It doesn't balance out immediately. Like someone like Charlie Sheen can go do volunteer work every day. He will have to do volunteer work for almost a decade, to catch up to simply where he was 20 years ago. So as you can see, karma has to be taken very seriously. You can't take karma very lightly. It shouldn't be taken lightly at all. Because again, everyone gets what they deserve. And I know this sounds really harsh to say, but everyone experiences things that they need to experience in order to grow. So it's all a question of balance. Now, the people that are suddenly sick and ill and leave this planet, I believe their contract is done. And this is why they suddenly get an accident and they disappear. They have graduated. They go into the next level. So obviously, I'm not going to say, they got into a bad car accident and that's what they deserve. No, no, no. It's not a question of that's what they deserved. That was their exit out. That's not karma. That's just a method of exiting the matrix or the game or the planet and going to the next level. So I believe they graduated. They've accomplished what they were here to accomplish. But for the rest, karma works. Karma is exactly, and it's like mathematics, nothing personal. If you subtract 2 from 4, you have 2 left. Like, it's nothing personal. We're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but that's how karma is. And this is why some people say, well, karma's harsh. Well, it is harsh because it's impersonal. It's not attached to you through emotions, no, it's just impersonal. It's like a boomerang. However solid you throw it, it's just going to take a longer time to come back to you, but eventually it'll come back. So I want to explain how important karma is, because a lot of people don't understand. They do things and they think nobody's going to see or no one's going to, notice. And no, everybody knows. On a subconscious level, everybody knows because it's in your aura. So you've put it there and now it's visible for other people to feel it. And this is why me, with my level of experience, I can see certain people, like I see certain commercials and I'm like, wow, this person has a really bad aura. Even on a good day, you can see their behavior is really alarming. So if their behavior is alarming like that on a good day, I wouldn't want to see them on a bad day. So you can just tell from the aura what kind of person they are and pretty much how they're going to react in certain situations. So again, karma is very important and you can feel someone's karma. So always take the time to step back and feel the person's karma. And you can feel it. Just take the example of Kevin Costner and Charlie Sheen. You don't even have to meet these people. You don't even have to see them face to face. You can already sense what type of aura Kevin Costner has and what type of aura Charlie Sheen has just from the type of life that they have lived. Okay? So that's feeling the karma. Now, how does karma actually work? Okay? Karma is energy. You cannot transfer your karma, right? You can't be like, this is my karma. I don't want to live through it. So let me just transfer it onto somebody else. You can't. You can try. If somebody else is willing to accept someone else's karma, that's on them, but they don't have to, like my karma is my karma, their karma is their karma. For me to downgrade and go, let's say, live with somebody, I don't want to live in that environment at all. So if that's not what I want, it's normal. I'm not going to want to transfer their karma onto my life, right? So example, let's say I have a boss, right? I had once a boss, he offered me coffee all the time. He was like, every time I get myself coffee, get me one too, and he'll pay for it. So in the beginning, it was cool. And these are like Starbucks coffee. They're like $6, $7 each, right? So in the beginning, it was okay. I didn't mind. But after a while, I was like, you know what? I can't have this person getting my coffee every day. Like imagine if I work here for 5 years, right? This person's going to buy my coffee for 5 years. That's just weird. And people will do that. They're just friendly, They're like, oh, you get yourself a coffee too. But if you ask me, that doesn't mean that I need to jump on that. Every time someone says, hey, let me buy you lunch, let me get you a beer, let me get you coffee, in my opinion, I shouldn't jump on that every time. I should only jump on the ones where the offer is from a friend or from a family. But if it comes from a stranger or from a colleague, I can tell you that energy, you're going to have to repay it. Okay. So let's say for 5 years, my boss has been buying me coffee. 5 years. No, that's a lot of coffee, and that's a large tab. After a while, it adds up, right? So let's say now he's given me 5 years of unlimited Starbucks coffee. One day is going to come where he's going to need some help, and subconsciously, his mind is going to go to me. Although he can get a help from somebody else. he sure can. He sure can, right? We're in a company. He can get the help from anybody he wants. However, what's going to happen is subconsciously he's going to go to me. Why? Because I owe him. Energetically, I owe him. He's been buying me coffee for 5 years. That energy is built up. That is not free energy. And this is what they mean by there's no free lunch. Trust me when I tell you, there's no free lunch. And in Montreal, as girls, we used to have free drinks and free lunch and free this, free that. And it was actually part of the culture. Maybe now it changed. But back in the days in Montreal, I didn't have to pay for my drinks and clubs and stuff like that. But when I came here, I noticed it wasn't like, oh, let me just buy it for you. It was like, let me buy it for you and I'm expecting something back. It was definitely transactional. Definitely transactional. So this is why now every time someone buys you a drink, then you have to talk to them. Even if the beer is like $4, it doesn't matter. Now you have to talk to them because they bought you a drink. You can't just take the drink and walk away. The person's going to be like, look at her. She took the drink and walked away, Very rarely you'll have a person that doesn't care, that actually buys you the drink because they want you to get the drink, But I can tell you 90% of the time, they're buying you a drink because they want something from you. They're buying you lunch because they want something from you, They're giving you something for free because they want something from you. So, and again, it's energetic, right? So if your mom's doing it to you for free, she's not going to want something from you because she's your mother. Maybe she would energetically, but that's still your family, right? You live with them, you're binded to them. That's still different. You definitely place boundaries, but you can't pick who your mother is or who your father is or who your brothers and sisters are. But you can definitely pick how you act with your boss or how you act with your colleagues. And I'm telling you, you let them buy you drinks and coffees and this and that. Eventually, the law of energy, the law of, equal exchange is going to knock on your door and say, I'm here to collect. Okay? So again, you cannot transfer this karma. So my boss buys me a lot of coffee. Now I owe him some type of energy. It doesn't have to be coffee. It can be something else, But now I owe him some type of energy. I cannot take this energy and put it on another coworker and be like, tag, you're it. It doesn't work like that. Oh, so now, my boss is going to collect from that person. Now that person has to buy my boss, coffee. No, that person has nothing to do with my relationship between me and my boss. Absolutely nothing to do. I can't drag that person into it. I can't be like, help me, can you buy him coffee today? I'm broke, like, can you spare some change? No. There's nothing. Why? Because this karma is between me and my boss. Absolutely nobody from the outside can come and save me, right? If they come and save me, they're going to get dirty. They're also going to have to get entangled in the situation and they're going to have to deal with this person. And nobody in their right mind is going to want to do that because they don't owe him coffee. They didn't collect coffee for free for 5 years, right? So it's not up to them to go to my boss and be like, hey, leave this person alone. It's not. Unfortunately, I've accepted coffee for 5 years. I need to pay back that energy somehow. And it's sad to say this is a energetic law. So this is how they use it, to, oh, now you owe me something. Well, I know I told you it was free, but now energetically you owe me. And now the tables have turned. And why the tables have turned? Only because I accepted something I shouldn't have, right? Because I thought it was free. Trust me when I tell you there's no free lunch and there's no free energy, okay? And again, if someone wants to give you something, they give it to you and they disappear, right? They give you the money or the coffee or whatever, and then they disappear. But if they're giving you money, coffee, lunch, and they hang around, well, trust me when I tell you they're hanging around because they're going to one day collect, okay? So energy is like your body. Don't give your energy to people that you don't want to entangle with, right? Just like you wouldn't want to give your body to others, right? 10 years ago, when I moved to LA, my doctor told me, be very careful. 50% of people in Los Angeles have STDs. 50%. And this was 10 years ago, right? So 10 years ago, 50% of the population here had STDs. I'm pretty sure that percentage went up because the 50% that the doctor was telling me was talking about HPV. And HPV is a STD that you cannot trace on a man. You can only trace it on a woman. Like, you can do tests and see if the woman got it, but you cannot do tests to see if the man has it. So the man can go and spread it around without ever knowing that he has this STD. So I don't mean to compare karma with STD, but it is pretty much like that. So once you catch it, right? You're on your own. You got to get rid of this karma, right? So it's the same thing. If I go in other people's relationships and I meddle, I'm catching whatever they have, right? I'm not willing to do that. So it's totally normal. And same thing with my boss. If I meddle in his relationships, I'm catching whatever I'm meddling in. So it's very important to have a clean energy, like that. When you do carry your aura, it's a beautiful, clean aura that speaks for itself, right? You don't look at somebody's energy and be like, wow, I wouldn't want to live with that. Like, it's not, that's not the reaction you want. That's why you need to have a clean aura. And auras are momentum. You cannot suddenly want to clean it because you've been Charlie Sheen all your life and now suddenly you want to have a little house on a prairie kind of life. It doesn't work because it's momentum. If Charlie Sheen lived his life a certain way, Charlie Sheen has living his life a certain way, and he can only attract certain types of people that are going to be attracted to that lifestyle. But Charlie Sheen cannot go and be like, oh, you like Kevin Costner, come in like me instead. It's not going to work because it's two completely different energies. And it's not because of the person. Like I said, Charlie Sheen can be incredible on paper. It's the aura. It's everything they've done in the background that kind of shows in the aura, and they're attached to this. And that aura follows them everywhere. And it's the same thing with the family, like the family is going to follow them everywhere. So this is why it's important to select partners that you want to build a life with, not a partner that has a certain attachment that you do not want to get involved, right? Because I'm telling you, karmas cannot be transferred. You cannot transfer your karma to somebody else. They need to want to live that karma out with you. What does karma look like? The closest thing I can show karma with would be a lightning. So you know how electricity and lightning, you can see that everywhere. You can see in the roots of the tree. You can see in the branches of the tree. You can see in the lakes and rivers. You can see the shape of a lightning everywhere in nature. And that's our shape of our aura. So you're first born and you have your first strike, right? Your lightning strike. Then it splits in multiple different directions, right? So when it splits in multiple directions, that's because you're starting a new path from the original path. So you have your original path, then you start a few other paths. So let's say we have 3, 4. One of them is going to be school. One of them is going to be your professional life, the skills you're accumulating towards your professional life. One of them is going to be your friends. One of them is going to be your family. One of them is going to be your passion, right? So you have this lightning that is now split in many different directions, and now they're starting their own little mini lightning. So that's what karma is, right? That's the map of your karma. Now, the lightning is simply a question: does it go strong for a while or does it fizzle out? And wherever it fizzles out, it's because the road has ended for that path, right? So let's say I'm doing a computer science. I started the computer science program, right? Now I'm starting with a lot of energy. 2, 3 semesters into it, I can see, you know what? I don't want to be a computer scientist. I'm going to transfer into management information systems, let's say, right? So then that lightning fizzles out. And then there's another one, right? Growing from this one fizzles out, my computer science. And then another one grows from the lightning this way, right? Because I'm still going up. I'm just not going up computer science. I'm going up this way. now. I'm doing management information systems, which is computer science and business together. So now I'm going this way, right? So now it's a question of how strong is this light going to go this way, or will it also fizzle out? Because maybe I'll do management information systems for a year or two and see that I don't want to do that either. You know what? I want to be a guitar player. So then this one fizzles out, this one fizzles out, and then the third one that comes out of this way, this one makes it, right? Now I want to be a guitar player. Now, I've lost some time, right? Because I'm going this way now instead of going this way, right? If I knew I wanted to be a guitar player right off the bat, I would have gone this way. But I didn't know. So I went to computer science. I went to management information systems. These two fizzled out. And then my guitar is taking off just like a rocket, right? So then that lightning will go up very strongly. And that's where you can meet another lightning and they'll entangle, right? Because it's electricity. So if you have another lightning that has the same energy as yours and same, let's say frequency, and it matches, then they get tangled and they both change directions into a direction that goes together. Instead of one going like this, one going like that, they now entangle. And they make a very powerful force. And this is why when you're 2, 3, you're more than one, the force becomes really powerful. So let's say if there's 5 life coaches all working towards the same goal, exact same goal, that energy is going to be way more powerful than just me working towards that goal on my own. So this is why, that's how energy works. This is how you amplify energy, and this is how you diminish energy. And like I said, it doesn't take much to diminish energy, okay? Self-esteem, bad health, stressful family life or stressful partner, that's all it takes. So it's completely normal for someone that has super clean karma to not want to dirty their karma because of someone else's decision. It's really normal. It's not selfish. It's not like, hey, look at this person. No. I've earned my clean karma. So because I've earned my clean karma, I can now help people that are in distress, right? They cannot help me because they're in distress. They can't help me. You can't, be in a hole and be like, oh, I know you're looking from outside, but I'll help you get inside. No, what? Why would I want to go inside? No, you're the one that has to get out of the hole. So to those people, I am sorry for the situation, but I have a home. If you need to run away to a safe haven, you're more than welcome to come to my place. I will protect you, right? I have no problem doing that. So if you need a life coach and you're in a situation where you really need to get out, it's life-threatening, call me and you have a place to stay. But if you don't want to clean your karma and you want to stay in that situation under those conditions, then that is your record that you need to keep carrying with you. But with my clean and beautiful karma, I'm not accepting that energy. I will never accept coming near me. So, to each your own. We each decide what we settle for or what we want out of life. And we are each responsible for the decisions we make, for the energies we accept, and for the responsibilities we decide to carry on behalf of other people, because we believe they can't do it on their own. So then we want to carry that karma for them. Perfectly fine if you want, but that's why with time these people get heavy. The lines start, they lose weight, they look grayish, and eventually they're pretty much going to disappear because there's only one way, and that way is down, unfortunately. So if you want to spiral up, give me a call. I'm an incredible life coach. I'll get you out of any situation you're in. My phone number can be found on my Instagram page. So if you have any questions about karma, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll answer them separately and individually. custom tailored for you. So thank you very much, and on to the next one. Ciao.